that, like especially Stephanie, what she has going on in her life, you'd think that she could use this time off. I mean, especially Triple H has been off TV for a long time now. They could have been. It would have been a well-deserved break for her, in other words. And Shane, he's just come back and he's got other things going on. So I was kind of expecting this to be the perfect kind of excuse to take a little bit of a break, but we're just not getting that. I mean, I know Shane is there. He's not there sometimes, but I was expecting that it would be rare to see him.
Yeah, like you. I mean, it's I just did not expect that they'd be around all the time. So just one of those things. So you never know, Ric Flair. There's definitely potential to do more with him than just the stuff with his daughter. I definitely would use him in that sense because I think he could be quite good. But like I say, it's unfortunate for Mick Foley because I'm a big fan of his. But he seems like he had more better things to say when he wasn't employed by WWE. Like I was agreeing with everything Mick Foley was saying about Roman Reigns not being over, and WWE not being in touch with their audience. I want that Mick Foley on TV. I don't want this downwatered version, unfortunately scripted almost Mick Foley. I like it when he's more off the cuff. I think it works better, but like I say, I think he's got to be out of the shadow of Stephanie in particular to really do that going forward. Matt, something else that's come about in the past couple of weeks that we haven't spoke about, and we had a few emails about, is of course the 205 show. What's your sort of first sort of feelings on that, and is it as is it good? Is it better than the Raw setup? And of course, they're sort of doing both, aren't they, currently? But I don't know how all that's going to end up. But the first show I watched, Matt, I mean, I got to say I was a bit put off at the beginning when they had them all sort of step out in a line, and the only real character was kind of Brian Kendrick. All of the rest of them just seemed like just wrestlers, and I was kind of thinking, this is a terrible introduction. Like, I don't know why they've done this. And then we got like some sort of side video, and I just really didn't enjoy it. But what was your taking on it, Matt? And is it an improvement? Do you see it being a decent show?
It definitely feels like they've gone out of their way to sort of segregate these group of wrestlers. It's like almost like saying like these guys can only interact with people in their own weight division, which is kind of against everything we've learned from WWE over the years. They've always had the little guys fighting the big guys. They've always had your Rey Mysterios fighting your Big Show and whatever. But now it just looks like it's totally they've got their own little division, their own little entity, and it's like if you want to watch these guys, tune into this show and watch them over there. I don't mind doing that, but when I did that, it didn't have that kind of feel. The Cruiserweight Classic to me, it still feels like something just hasn't come together right for it. And they definitely look like they tried to hit the reset button. They looks like it feels a little bit desperate that they're trying to get this thing off the ground. They'd even like straight away from the first episode, like they're going to just change give you like the title match and go, we're going to run with a new champion, perhaps this will take the thing in a different direction. Just really feels like a try-hard kind of attitude.
Yeah, it's becoming, I mean, I freaking hate the idea that, like you say, they can't interact with anybody else. I mean, this is my problem with it. When they said they were going to have a Cruiserweight title on Raw, I thought, oh good, that's good. There's now something for the likes of, I can see somebody like, before when Tyler Breeze moved up, he got completely lost. And then I kind of kept thinking about Austin Aries. I kept thinking, well, he's great in NXT, but when he gets on that main roster, where the hell is he going to go? What's he going to do? Is he just going to be like another sort of Neville who just kind of comes out and does those, running down the aisle kind of thing? He's the guy you can throw about and just does the high spots. I don't really want that because, these guys are, every bit as good and as much potential as someone like a Daniel Bryan, who arguably become, at his time anyway, the biggest star. And that was, in against guys like Triple H, Batista and Randy Orton. So it made no odds with size right there. I mean, it was down to talent. And I thought with a Cruiserweight title, Matt, if used properly, like the women's title, they have basically said that is as good as now the male equivalent of the heavyweight title, I felt the cruiserweight title could also be the same. In kind of the perspective that if you look at UFC, you look at all the different weight classes, you don't say Conor McGregor is a lesser champion than the heavyweight champion in UFC. They are all the best in their weight classes, and I felt like that is something new that WWE could have used, on their roster. And you could have had guys like Austin Aries being as legit as, a guy like Kevin Owens, for instance, as good as that, just in a different weight class. And it would have given those guys more potential when they go up and something to do. But now I kind of feel like, well, why would Austin Aries kind of dream about going to 205 Live and all this, There just doesn't seem to be much in it. I'd rather be on NXT, quite frankly. If I was one of those guys on that roster, I'd rather have a go on NXT than I would turning up on the back end of a SmackDown taping. Quite frankly, that's just the way I look at it, but I could be wrong. But I can kind of get the sense now, Matt, why the likes of Zack Sabre and all that didn't sign with them in the first place, and when they knew probably where this was going to go, because I know WWE is the biggest one, but they've always got a chance of going to Japan before that and making a big enough name of themselves that they'll get an NXT deal, and it'll probably work out a little bit better for them in the long run. Where signing here is a little bit of a nightmare. Where do you think, Matt, in general, just to tie up? I mean, the show itself, I think it's okay. I don't think it's quite NXT for me. It's not something that I kind of all are going to be like, I can't wait to see the next one. From what I'm gauging, Matt, do you think they're just going to run the cruiserweight, like every cruiserweight championship match will go on the Raw pay-per-view kind of thing? Is that the sort of deal you think they're going to get?
It kind of feels like that, but then what with this 205 Live, and then they had a total change on there. I kind of feel like it's not about story on that show for some reason, is it? I mean,
no.
They just seem to be going with match after match, and I think they've already got the rematch coming up on 205 Live, so it kind of feels like they're really focusing on that. So maybe there's a part of me that feels like they might even try and phase it out of Raw, but maybe that might be a good thing for it. I don't know. It depends on what they replace it with, because it's a good spot that it gets on Raw. They'd have to come up with something very good to replace it, unless they're going to do something drastic and focus on other aspects of the women's division. Because right now we're only getting main events like with the women's title, aren't we? So maybe if they focus on sort of the mid-card level of the women's division, maybe that might take the space. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see where that goes. I will worth saying something, Matt, that apparently WWE is going to be doing similar to the Cruiserweight Classic. They're going to be doing a female version of that. I don't know if you've heard that, and I know they've signed up a lot of some of the talent from Evolve, which of course is the all-female wrestling promotion in America. They've signed a lot of those girls up, so they're going to be doing kind of like a tournament kind of thing for them. I just hope that they don't run that into the ground, as and start signing them up to do a load of nothing as well, and then we get another kind of show going on, or them trying to embed that into SmackDown. I mean, who knows? But the weird thing is that if they do that, Matt, do they go on NXT or do they go to the... I mean, it's really, really confusing where you go on that roster currently, especially with the likes of James Ellsworth at the moment, who of course has just basically got a free pass. I mean, all credit for him, but I mean, some of those NXT guys have got to be thinking, hang on a minute, what the heck's happened here? This jobber's over more than me. This is ridiculous. You thought Braun Strowman at the beginning of the year, 2 minutes worth of a beating, which just goes to show you what social media can do for you, I guess. But yeah, it is very difficult to know where the tier system really lies in that department. And like I say, it could be a whole cluster of mid card all over, really, couldn't it? But before we bring Daniel Puder on, Matt, another signing that happened that I'd heard is Mickie James now signed to the main roster of WWE. Not really a surprise to me after seeing her performance, I'll say. But I guess it makes a little bit of sense that, possibly if there's a SmackDown kind of move for her, I get that probably. But what do you think on that one, Matt?
Yeah, it's an interesting one for me. I guess she'll be good as a sort of mentor kind of role, and the matches that she can have with some of the younger talent will do very well to put them across. Yeah,
not a small deal either. It's a 2-year, I believe, a 2-year contract. So, she's done well there. She's got herself right back into things after that match, and she didn't look like she missed a beat, if I'm totally honest. But I felt like it would have been better to have her kind of on the main roster anyway, especially on SmackDown, quite frankly. But that'll be interesting to see where they go with that. Okay, guys. Well, I think it's time that we now bring our guest on for tonight, and we're going to bring on Daniel Puder. We're going to be talking all things UFC 207. If you're listening to us for the first time, you might think, hang on a minute, I thought this was a wrestling podcast. We are a wrestling podcast, but Ronda Rousey, UFC. We've had lots of crossovers this year. Of course, no less than Brock Lesnar turning up at UFC 200. So it's got very popular indeed. And Ronda Rousey, I would say, has probably been one of the biggest kind of pushes towards women's wrestling on WWE, quite frankly, and the way they've gone with those with the female talent nowadays. So I think she's incredible star. We talked to Daniel all about that. So guys, let's play you the interview from earlier on with Daniel Puder.
Yeah, really grateful to say Daniel Puder is back on the show. Really grateful to have him here. Daniel, thank you very much for taking time out in your very busy schedule.
Yeah, brother, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, just like, I do get some emails now and then, and people have been looking up your stuff, like My Power, how is that going? Because, like, everything I see from you recently, you are very, very busy. You're doing lots of projects, you're working with children, you're getting your project out there. How is that all going? And, it seems like you're travelling all around at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's been a lot of travel, a lot of business deals. We're working in multiple states here in America.
Sure.
And we're putting some really amazing deals together from the juvenile hall systems, which is the prison systems for kids, to one program where we're just in Frankfort, Kentucky. We're working with the Kentucky State University and a local school district, and some politicians and local businesses, and so it's really amazing. Then we have the university side that we're doing, that's growing, and then our corporate, we're going to be doing more corporate trainings and experiences for corporate leaders. So on Tuesday I have a call, or not a call, I have a meeting with the president of Discovery Channel Latin America.
Wow.
So there's some amazing progress in what we're doing and how we're doing it, and really showing people how we can deliver the results that they want to create within their organization or school.
Sure. Well, my hat's off to you, Daniel, because literally you seem really, really hard working, really, really dedicated, and very passionate about what you do, which really comes across. So I really wish you all the best with that, because everything you seem to be doing at the moment seems to be doing very well. And I've seen you on a few news programs as well, which look really good, and innovative stuff that you were doing. So hope that continues well for you, Daniel. Reason I wanted to bring you back onto the show is I just wanted to get your kind of thoughts on the Ronda Rousey return. And before I ask you about the fight itself, if you was Ronda Rousey, would you feel the need that she has to come back, or do you think that it's she didn't have to?
I think she wants to prove herself. I don't think she's done fighting.